The clock is ticking and time is the one resource you can never get back. Every day that passes is another opportunity gone, another chance to build the life you say you want, another window to step into the future that is closing behind you. As we look ahead toward 2026, you must realize that you don't have unlimited years to waste. You don't have endless months to keep telling yourself someday. And you don't have the luxury to keep living as if time isn't moving forward. Time is impartial. It doesn't care if you are ready, if you are scared, if you are uncertain, or if you are unprepared. It keeps moving. And the question you need to ask yourself is whether you will move with it or whether you will stay stuck in the same place while the calendar pages flip by. If you wait until you feel like it, if you wait until all the conditions are perfect, if you wait until you are no longer afraid, you'll find yourself waiting forever. When you look around, you can see how quickly things are changing. The world of today will not be the world of tomorrow. The opportunities available now may not be available in 2 years. The doors that are open today might close tomorrow. And the habits you continue to repeat now are shaping what you will experience later. 2 years may sound like a long time, but it isn't. 2 years is only 24 months. 24 months is only about 700 days. 700 days is just over 17,000 hours. And within that time, every hour will either be used to create momentum toward your dreams or wasted in procrastination and distraction. That's why you can't afford to keep saying, "I'll start later." Later has stolen more dreams than failure ever has. Think about it. Every success story you admire came from someone who refused to keep waiting. They understood the urgency of acting now. They didn't treat their goals like a casual option. They treated them like a responsibility. The same is true for you. The vision you have for 2026 will only become real if you begin today. You don't need to wait until January 1st. You don't need to wait until your circumstances improve. And you don't need to wait until someone gives you permission. The only thing standing between who you are now and who you want to be in 2026 is your decision to act. The clock is ticking. But that doesn't mean you should panic. It means you should wake up. It means you should feel the weight of urgency pressing on you to get serious about your life. Time will either be your ally or your enemy. It can work for you if you use it wisely, or it can destroy your potential if you squander it. Imagine what you can accomplish in 2 years if you stay disciplined, consistent, and focused. Imagine the financial freedom you can create, the health you can build, the relationships you can strengthen, the skills you can develop, and the person you can become. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine standing in 2026 with nothing changed, nothing improved, and nothing different, except you are older, more frustrated, and filled with regret. That's the choice the ticking clock is forcing you to make every single day. The world of rapid change is not waiting for anyone, and whether you like it or not, you are living in one of the most transformative times in human history. Technology is advancing at a speed that previous generations could never have imagined. Economies are shifting, industries are collapsing while new ones are being born overnight, and the skills that were valuable yesterday may not even matter tomorrow. If you look around, you'll notice that what once took decades to change now happens in months. Entire businesses that were once seen as unshakable have disappeared because they failed to adapt, while individuals who embrace change have created wealth, freedom, and influence in just a short period of time. The truth is, you cannot afford to ignore how fast the world is moving. If you resist change, you will be left behind. But if you embrace it, you will find opportunities that most people will never see. Every single day, artificial intelligence is learning, automation is replacing traditional jobs, and new platforms are changing the way people communicate, work, and live. This is not just about technology. It is about the way the entire world operates. The way you earn money, the way you connect with people, the way you consume information, and even the way you think will be influenced by this rapid evolution. If you are not preparing for it, you are unconsciously preparing to be replaced. You can no longer survive on outdated skills or old mindsets. The people who win in 2026 will not be those who cling to comfort zones, but those who can learn, unlearn, and relearn faster than the world around them. Think about how many people laughed at cryptocurrency, dismissed social media as a fad, ignored e-commerce, or resisted digital marketing when it first began. Where are they now? Many of them are struggling to catch up because the train has already left the station. Meanwhile, the ones who paid attention, who learned early, who embraced change instead of resisting it, are reaping rewards today. That's the lesson you need to internalize. When the world shifts, you must shift with it. You cannot be stubborn and expect to thrive. The quicker you adapt, the more you'll gain. The longer you delay, the more painful the catch up becomes. The rapid change in the world isn't something to fear. It is something to leverage, because in every change lies an opportunity. Every disruption creates gaps that can be filled by those who are paying attention. Every crisis creates problems that can be solved by innovators. Every shift creates new demands, new markets, and new needs. The question is not whether change will happen, but whether you will be positioned to benefit from it. When the world evolves, you have a choice: be a victim of change or be a student of change. Those who choose to learn, to adapt, and to step into the unknown are the ones who will look back at 2026 with gratitude, because they used this window of time to set themselves up for the future. Most people make the mistake of thinking they have time to wait it out, but change doesn't slow down for anyone. While you're waiting, the world is moving on. While you're hesitating, others are seizing opportunities. While you're afraid, others are building, creating, and positioning themselves to lead. You cannot afford to close your eyes and hope the world will stay the same, because it won't. The only constant is change itself, and by 2026, the gap between those who adapt and those who resist will be larger than ever. The people who succeed will not be the smartest or the most talented, but the most adaptable, the ones who recognized the signs and moved with speed. While others stayed stuck, you hold the power, and that is the one truth you must accept if you are serious about transforming your life before 2026. Too often, people hand over their power to circumstances, to excuses, to other people's opinions, or to the belief that life is happening to them rather than through them. But the reality is that every decision you make, every habit you repeat, and every choice you either take or avoid is shaping your future right now. Your life is not going to magically improve just because time passes. The year on the calendar does not change your destiny. Your actions do. If you want to step into 2026 with a different life, you must understand that nothing changes until you do. And that realization alone should wake you up to how much influence you already have over your own future. Most people underestimate the power they hold because they are blinded by what they don't control. They look at the economy, politics, or global events and convince themselves that success is out of reach. They point to where they were born, their family situation, their lack of resources, or the mistakes they've made as evidence that their destiny is limited. But while you can't always control the external world, you can control your response, your focus, your work ethic, and your mindset. History is full of examples of people who came from nothing and built extraordinary lives because they refused to give away their power to circumstances. They understood the deciding factor wasn't where they started, but whether they would take ownership of their journey. When you truly accept that you hold the power, you stop waiting for someone to come rescue you. You stop waiting for opportunities to fall into your lap. You stop blaming other people for where you are, and you begin to take radical responsibility for where you're going. That shift is the foundation of every transformation. It doesn't matter if you feel behind. It doesn't matter if you've failed in the past. It doesn't matter if you've wasted years in procrastination. What matters is the decision you make today, because today is the only place your power exists. You cannot change yesterday, and you cannot control tomorrow until it arrives, but you can control the choices you make right now. The reason many people never see change is because they underestimate the compounding effect of small, consistent actions. They think power only comes from big breakthroughs, massive opportunities, or lucky breaks. But the truth is your power lies in the small decisions you make every single day. Every time you choose discipline over laziness, learning over distraction, courage over fear, you are exercising your power. Over weeks, months, and years, those decisions compound into a completely different life. By 2026, your life could be unrecognizable if you begin using the power you already have instead of pretending it doesn't exist. The danger of not realizing your power is that you drift into a mindset of victimhood, and victimhood robs you of everything. It convinces you that nothing is your fault. And because nothing is your fault, nothing can be your responsibility. That mindset is deadly because it keeps you stuck. But the moment you reclaim your power, the moment you declare that you are the one who will decide what your future looks like, you break free from that trap. You are not powerless. You are not helpless. And you are not stuck unless you choose to be. The truth is, the next 2 years are going to pass whether you act or not. By the time 2026 arrives, you will either be living the life you designed or the life you settled for. That difference will come down to whether you believed in your power or whether you gave it away. The power to change your finances, your health, your mindset, your relationships, your skills, and your future has always been in your hands. No one can use it for you. No one can take it from you. It's been yours all along, waiting for you to finally decide to step into it and use it fully. The gap between success and regret is often much smaller than people realize, but it becomes painfully obvious with the passing of time. In the present moment, it may not feel urgent to make changes, to take risks, or to commit fully to your goals, but when you step into the future and look back, you will see clearly how every little decision either pushed you towards success or dragged you into regret. By 2026, you will either look back with pride because you acted when it mattered, or you will look back with frustration because you allowed excuses, fear, and procrastination to steal the future you could have had. That gap between those two outcomes is defined by the choices you are making right now. When you study people who are successful, what you find is not that they had fewer obstacles or better luck, but that they treated time with urgency. They understood that opportunity is not permanent and that hesitation is more dangerous than failure. They did not wait until conditions were perfect because they knew perfect conditions never arrive. They acted, and even when their actions weren't flawless, those steps moved them closer to their vision. On the other hand, when you listen to people filled with regret, they almost always tell the same story. They waited too long. They talked themselves out of their dreams. They thought they had more time. And when they finally tried to act, the moment had already passed. Success leaves you with lessons and growth, while regret leaves you with pain and questions that never go away. The truth is, regret is heavier than discipline. Discipline requires sacrifice, consistency, and effort, but regret carries the weight of missed opportunities and lost potential. You can recover from mistakes, you can learn from failures, but you can never go back and reclaim wasted time. That's why the gap between success and regret is so critical. 2 years from now, you will not care about the small discomforts you went through in order to grow, but you will care deeply if you let yourself stay stagnant when you had the chance to move forward. Think about your own life right now. What are the things you know you should be doing, but keep postponing? What dreams have you pushed aside because you convinced yourself the timing wasn't right? What conversations, projects, or risks have you avoided because of fear? Those are the very areas that will decide whether you walk into 2026 successful or regretful. It will not be the things you didn't know about. It will not be the opportunities that were completely invisible. It will be the obvious things you ignored, the changes you knew you needed to make but refused to start. The gap between success and regret is really a matter of ownership. Successful people take ownership of their lives even when it is difficult, while regretful people wait for someone else to save them, validate them, or push them. When you rely on external forces to dictate your future, you are handing away your power. But when you take ownership, you are declaring that no matter how long it takes, no matter how many obstacles arise, you will keep moving toward the life you envision. Ownership is the bridge that closes the gap, while blame, excuses, and procrastination widen it. Every single day you have a choice about which side of the gap you are stepping toward. It doesn't require massive overnight change, but it does require consistency. Small disciplines practiced daily compound into achievements that make the future brighter, while small neglects practiced daily compound into regret that cannot be undone. If you wake up tomorrow and repeat the same actions you've always taken, you will recreate the same results you've always had. If you shift even slightly in the direction of growth, 2 years of momentum can transform your life into something completely different. That is the beauty of this gap. It is not permanent. It is not fixed. It is flexible and determined by the decisions you make right now. The question you will face in 2026 is simple. Will you be proud of yourself for starting when it was hard, or will you be haunted by the fact that you wasted another chance waiting for the right time that never came? That answer is being written every day in the choices you make, and it will determine whether the gap between success and regret becomes the defining story of your life. This is a blueprint, not just a collection of random tips. And when you treat it as such, everything changes. A blueprint is a plan, a structure, a map that shows you exactly how to move from where you want to be. Most people drift through life without any clear design, hoping things will somehow fall into place. But hope is not a strategy. If you want transformation by 2026, you need more than vague wishes and motivational quotes. You need a framework you can follow consistently, something that guides your decisions, shapes your habits, and aligns your daily actions with the future you are trying to build. The difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck is not intelligence or luck, but whether they are following a clear blueprint or stumbling in the dark. A blueprint gives you clarity. It forces you to stop living by chance and start living by design. When you know the steps, you stop wasting energy on unnecessary detours. You don't spend years chasing distractions or pouring effort into things that don't matter, because the blueprint shows you what is essential. Without it, life feels overwhelming and directionless, and you end up exhausted without making real progress. With it, even the most difficult seasons make sense because you know they are part of a bigger structure that leads somewhere meaningful. That is why successful people always work from a plan, not from impulse. They are not guessing their way into success. They are building it piece by piece with intention. Another powerful thing about a blueprint is that it creates accountability. If you don't have a plan, there is no way to measure whether you're actually moving forward. But when you have a structure, when you've defined the specific things you must do, there is no place to hide. You either show up or you don't. You either keep the commitments or you break them. That accountability can be uncomfortable, but it is also liberating because it reminds you that the future is in your control. You are no longer a victim of chance. You are the architect of your own destiny. By 2026, the life you are living will be the result of the blueprint you followed or the absence of one. A blueprint also simplifies what feels complex. Life has so many moving parts: finances, relationships, health, mindset, career, and without order, it can feel chaotic. But when you put all of these into a framework, you stop treating them as separate battles and begin to see how they connect. Improving your health fuels your energy, which improves your performance. Building new skills increases your income, which gives you freedom to focus on your purpose. Strengthening your mindset increases your resilience, which helps you persist in relationships and business. The blueprint ties everything together so your growth becomes exponential rather than scattered. Too many people look at transformation as an overwhelming mountain to climb, but a blueprint breaks the mountain into steps. You don't need to figure out the entire climb at once. You just need to follow the next step in front of you. And with every step, momentum builds. By the time you look back, you realize how far you've come, not because you relied on bursts of motivation, but because you committed to following the structure. That is the difference between people who talk about change and people who actually live it. The beauty of a blueprint is that it doesn't care about your past. It doesn't matter how many times you've failed, how many opportunities you've missed, or how inconsistent you've been before. The only thing that matters is whether you choose to start building now. If you align yourself with a plan and commit to it, the next 2 years can redefine your entire story. Every day you follow the blueprint. You're laying bricks toward the future you want. By 2026, you will either be standing in a house you built with discipline and focus, or staring at empty ground because you never picked up the tools. The blueprint is there for you, but only you can decide whether to use it. Your future self is watching, and that thought alone should light a fire under you. Every action you take today is shaping the person you will meet in 2026. That future version of you is not some distant stranger. It is the direct result of the habits you are practicing, the choices you are making, and the standards you are living by right now. If you waste your days with procrastination, excuses, and distractions, the person you meet in 2026 will carry the weight of those decisions. If you stay disciplined, focused, and committed, the person you meet in 2026 will thank you for the sacrifices you made. The truth is that your future self is being created in this very moment, and whether they are proud of you or disappointed in you depends entirely on what you do today. Imagine meeting that future version of yourself 2 years from now. Will they be standing tall, confident and grateful that you had the courage to step out of your comfort zone? Or will they look back at you with resentment because you let fear, laziness, or indecision steal years that could have changed everything? That image should be enough to make you reconsider how you are living right now. The excuses that feel valid today will feel like chains around your neck tomorrow. The opportunities you ignore today will be the regrets you carry tomorrow. Every choice has a consequence, and your future self is the one who will pay the price for what you do or don't do in the present. The powerful thing about keeping your future self in mind is that it helps you rise above temporary feelings. Right now, you may not feel like waking up early, studying, exercising, investing, or building the skills you need. But when you realize that the discomfort you feel today is nothing compared to the regret your future self may feel, suddenly the sacrifice doesn't seem so heavy. Successful people don't live for the comfort of the moment. They live for the rewards their future selves will enjoy. They are constantly in dialogue with the person they are becoming, and they make choices not for who they are right now, but for who they want to be later. You must learn to see beyond the short term. The world trains people to crave instant gratification, likes on social media, quick money, temporary pleasure. But instant gratification is the enemy of long-term transformation. The version of you in 2026 is not built by what feels good today. It is built by what is necessary today. That means discipline when others are distracted, courage when others are afraid, consistency when others quit. Your future self is watching, silently taking notes on every decision you make, and those notes will become the reality you have to live in 2 years from now. Think about the pride you would feel stepping into 2026, knowing that you didn't waste time, that you pushed through when it was hard, that you built something meaningful when others were still making excuses. Think about the joy of looking back and realizing that you didn't betray yourself, that you honored the potential you knew you had inside of you. That feeling of pride is priceless, and it is available to you, but it requires you to live as if your future self is in the room watching you right now. Because in a way, they are not imaginary, they are real, waiting for you on the other side of your daily choices. The clock will not stop, and whether you realize it or not, you are always in the process of building the future. The question is whether you are building a future of success or a future of regret. When you keep your future self in mind, when you live with the awareness that every small decision echoes forward into the person you will become, you begin to move differently. You stop wasting time on meaningless things. You stop entertaining distractions that don't serve you. You stop living for approval, comfort, or fear, and you start living for legacy, purpose, and pride. Because in 2026, your future self will either thank you or despise you, and the deciding factor will be how you chose to live today.